Hi, I'm Ify Kim Singh. We're closing the day one of Move 2022. I'm joined now by Zeina Nazer, who's co-founder of Cities Forum, our media partner. Nice to see you, Zeina.
Hi, thank you. Nice to see you too. So my name is Zeina Nazer. I'm co-founder of Cities Forum and I'm doctoral researcher at the University of Southampton on improving sensors for autonomous vehicles, specifically on LiDAR, how to improve LiDAR system, because clearly we're not there yet in the level 5 in autonomous vehicles, so we're looking still into improving the system. So I'm really excited to be in Move. I think it's one of the best places to be, where you have everyone involved, the automakers, you have lawmakers, you have cities, government, officials, everybody involved here. So thank you for having me. Yeah.
And who are the main parties you would say are involved in the discussion of how to make cities smarter? Who are the people involved in the partnership?
So that's a great question, and that's what we're having tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm sharing all day in here at Move on a smart city session, and I will have speakers from different cities, from Europe, from UK, from different parts of the world. I will have basically technology providers. I will have all kind of service providers. So it will be a mix of everyone, lawmakers, sociologists. So, and they'll all be talking about the infrastructure to make cities smarter. So yeah, feel free to come to our session tomorrow, because there will be so many things to discuss. But more importantly is how to partner with all these basically stakeholders to get the right solution for the citizens, because what we're looking for is basically to get the cities smarter and better and more better livable for the citizens.
And how important is partnership, just in general, to making cities smarter?
I would say it's same as autonomous vehicle. You don't have a single sensor that does everything. You need a suite of sensors. You need LiDAR, you need cameras, you need radar, you need all kind of sensors. Same thing when it comes to cities. You need partnership. You need all kind of stakeholders involved, because otherwise not a single organization can lead or make a city livable, because you need different kind of feedback. And most importantly, with now the inclusivity, diversity being so important, it's important to have everyone's voice. So for example, especially now with people with disability, you need to include them when you're building your cities. You need to include the elderly to help them in order to have the independence to move. And possibly this could be done with autonomous vehicles. So it's about having the technology serving us rather than us being like basically the idea is for technology to serve the people and not the opposite. And that's what we try to aim from technology, is to make cities more livable, but basically for everyone. And then you'll see, besides, I'm not necessarily just promoting autonomous vehicle. As Cities Forum, we're looking into micromobility, we're looking into electric vehicles, we're looking into active mobility, we're looking into people walking, cycling. So it's not just about autonomous vehicle. You have a different type of people who are totally looking into how to get rid of the vehicles, right? So autonomous vehicle is not, the idea is not to get more cars on the road. It's actually because you need to not only have an autonomous vehicle, it must be connected, it must be electrical. It also should be shared. So you don't have to own your own car. You need to have some way, some model, so that you have a car that is shared by other people. So we're looking into all this, and clearly you need all kind of stakeholders involved in order to make those decisions. Because and then without the government involvement, everything would become very, very difficult. You need legislation, you need regulations, you need everything to be put in place with the approval and basically the blessing of the government.
Brilliant. What's your pledge at Cities Forum? How are you working with your member companies, and what technologies in, for example, autonomous vehicles are you really seeing improvements?
So as I mentioned to you, we are not necessarily promoting a certain technology. We're promoting better cities, more livable cities, whether it is by, and every city really has its own needs. So for example, and my watch is now happy because I finished my 20,000 steps today. So basically it's about being active. So for me now, especially with COVID, I mean, now it's all about active transport. It's all about moving rather than being dependent, right? And it's all about I mean, not only this, I mean, I don't need to own a car. If I can share my car with other people, and then, and also with the petrol and everything, with the environment and the climate change, why not think about electric vehicles? So I mean, as I said, but then every city has its own needs and its own restrictions. So while electricity is available in some cities, it's not. While public transport is available, like today we heard from Luxembourg, and they have the free public transport that is nationwide, and I think that's fantastic, right? But then, can cities afford to do that? I mean, are you able to do that in London? Probably not, right? But then it's not impossible if we think about some business plans and business model in order to make this available. So by doing that, maybe we can think of a way to get people out of owning their own car and starting to take the public transport. So really it's about finding a way to promote what is sustainable for the city. And we need to keep that in mind, because while we were always focusing on promoting technology and fast solution and impressing people, as an engineer, I'm an engineer and I'm proud of what I do, but also I'm not so proud that I'm not really helping the environment with all the technology I'm using. This is not now about technology, it's about climate change, it's about doing what's best for us in order to be able to live in this world for longer.
And the need of every city is different, right?
And then every city is different. I mean, you have London is different, London needs is different than in Hong Kong, than in other places in the world. I mean, you have clearly in Dubai, it's very, very hot. So clearly you cannot say people need to cycle in August. I mean, you'll be killing them, right? So it's really about finding the best climate, the best environment that works for every city. And for example, also when it comes to legislation, when it comes to basically making it difficult for people to own more than one car per household, that can help. This is where legislation and government can be involved, where they make it difficult for people to own cars. When it comes to congestion charging, my favorite topic, because I don't believe in free roads, when it comes to congestion charging, you're really telling people, okay, well, really it's going to cost you a lot of money to drive into the city, and I'm providing you with alternative, with a fantastic public transport. So why do you need to drive? Right? I mean, here maybe we start talking about unfairness, social injustice maybe, because maybe people with a higher income would be able to afford than other people. But then I would leave that for sociologists, because I'm an engineer and it's not my job to look into that. But I can only say that I'm always happy to make it difficult for people to park, to drive, to get into town, especially in basically peak hours. But then I also would like to provide them with alternatives. So people like, cities like Luxembourg who provide free public transport, I mean, I think that that's ideal. And I think if we can start thinking about those options, it would be great. Same thing when it comes to providing, for example, scooters. So you have electric scooters that are very good for the environment. So that would be a nice kind of last mile, first mile, last mile trips. So you still don't need a car. I mean, really the government should very much tax the people who take their cars for very short distances. It's so bad for the environment, it's so unfair. Same thing when it comes to flight. Short flights, London to Paris, take the train, Eurostar, it's fantastic. Why do you need to fly? I mean, it takes you less time to take the train center to center rather to fly and then go from airport to airport. So it's about changing our behavior. It's about thinking about these things. So yes, I understand sometimes flights could be, and that's a problem, flight could be very cheap. So people don't think about the big picture. They think about, oh, it's cheaper, the flight is cheaper, but they don't think about the time spent and all the CO2 spent and all the bad effect they've done on the environment. So we need to think about everything.
It sounds like there's so many solutions for smart cities, and you're going to have a great session tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Yeah.